Hey, BC's here. Welcome to week 4 of VDL Season 8. This week we're playing against the two-time champion of the VDL, the Boltund Bashers, Goomer. So looking at the matchup honestly is the first time this season I feel having a favorable matchup. And on it, I would normally feel very good about this team's matchup into this if I wasn't playing against Goomer. I played Goomer before. He's crushed me every time. In addition to that, he's one of the better coaches I've seen play, and he almost always comes up with some interesting tech. But with that, the big reason why I think I have a pretty good matchup is one, they have only one ice resist on their entire team, which is Kling Kling. Two, in addition to the fact that they'll only have one ice resist, Kling Kling isn't the most consistent steel mon. Shuckle is not the most offensive rock mon. They have no Firemon on their entire team, and then Passimian is very weak on the special side, so it's very likely to have to come up with an AV. So Kling Kling, Passimian, and Weezing are the big mons I 100% expect to see. However, the problem with this matchup is that is a little bit tricky is the fact that I honestly think that they can bring all 10 of their 11 mons. The only ones I 100% expect not to come is Eldegoss. So with that, I need to prep for a lot of different team compositions. For example, a Trick Room mode with a Rangaroo and Cursula, while also having a fast mode that I have to deal with Tornadus and Pikachu, especially with the fast fake out. And so with that, this is the team I decided to bring. So I'm just going to go a little bit around. So I picked the room service Glastrier in case they have the Trick Room mode. Cursula and Glastrier speed tie. So the idea is I'm a little bit above min speed so that I outspeed under or when Trick Room's not up, and then with room service I should underspeed Cursula in Trick Room. The Weavile is mainly if I believe they're going to bring something like Pikachu. The Other than that, if I don't think that they have like a good Scarfmon, or if I don't think they are, it also is a good lead into a Tornadus, for example. But the big one is I 100% will bring it game 1 if they have Pikachu on their team. The Arctivish, we have Slush Rush and Choice Scarf. The idea is with Scarf, I should outspeed everything on their team other than Tornadus. And then if they set up the Tailwind, Arctivish actually outspeeds everything on their team except for Tornadus if I have the Hell up as well. Next, we have the Ninetales with Light Clay, Aurora Bell. So the idea is to get Aurora Bell up and then have 4 pretty bulky Pokemon on my team that can abuse it. Then we just have Ice, Fairy coverage, and Hypnosis to be a little bit annoying. And then below these we have the Mr. Rhyme with the Ghost Resist Berry to take an attack from Cursula, with Focus Blast mainly to hit the Kling Klang, and then finally Paloswine that's Thick Fat to take fire coverage. And then we have the High Horsepower to hit Kling Klang, ice coverage for everything else, and then we have Ice Shard for some priority. I strongly considered Cloyster, almost brought it, but I decided that I think that these kind of are the best 6. And with that, let's get into the match. So here are for game 1. So looking at my opponent's team, first thing I noticed is they don't have Pikachu. Second thing I noticed is that they don't have any of their Trick Room modes. So this tells me 2 things. One is that I don't think that Weavile is going to be super relevant because it means that they are likely going to be very fast. They're going to probably have a Scarfmon, probably set up Tailwind. And so I decided that I want to lean Mr. Rhyme as my Fake Out Mon and possibly be able to get up Trick Room early. And in addition to that, with or not having a Trick Room mode, I feel like, setting up my own Trick Room seems very good. And so the big question is do I want to lead Ninetales or not? I think that there's some justification to lead, maybe like Paloswine or Glastrier, but I decided to just go with Ninetales, Mr. Rhyme. The Hell Champ damage seems pretty relevant, and getting Aurora Bell is really important if I can get up to Trick Room after that. And then with that, I just go with my 2 Trick Room Mons and Paloswine and Glastrier. So this is kind of my, my game plan, and with that, let's get into the match. So they end up leading Weezing and Shuckle. And I lead my Mr. Rhyme Ninetales. Weezing is unsurprisingly neutralizing gas, so I don't get the Hell set up. And so here, I considered Fake Out and doing something else, but I decide that I'm just going to go for the offensive. Looking at Shuckle, my expectation is probably them just go for Stealth Rock. So even if they protect here, with the Wheezing, I don't think it's that big of a deal, and so I just go for the Blizzard and the Psychic. This double up, if the Blizzard hits, should kill the Wheezing, and in addition, it should do some reasonable chunk damage to Shuckle. So luckily for me, the Blizzard double connects even with the Hell not being up, and it does very good damage to the Wheezing. The Wheezing ends up outspeeding my Mr. Rhyme, which is not too surprising, and it connects on the Mr. Rhyme with the Heat Wave, but misses the Ninetales, which is convenient, but not not that big for me. However, we do connect the Psychic and kill the Wheezing, and so luckily for us, we got the kill there. And the neutralizing gas ends, so we do get Hell up, and now we're going to get a little bit of Hell chip for the rest of the game, which is pretty good. Shuckle ends up going for a Meteor Beam, which I was definitely surprised here. I was expecting maybe Guard Swap or, maybe Stealth Rocks here, but definitely wasn't expecting Meteor Beam. However, Shuckle's special attack is not that great, so I don't expect this to do too much. However, it ends up killing the Mr. Rhyme. I didn't do the damage calc, but that crit might have mattered. I was definitely expecting to survive that. Yes, it's a high base power move. Yes, it's +1, but Mr. Rhyme's pretty bulky, and in addition to that, Shuckle's pretty weak. So here I just decide between which of the two I think is the best to bring in the back. I decide on Glastrier because I think it is the more offensive mon, and they bring up Kling Kling. And so with this, them having Kling Kling out, I definitely feel like that's the mon I need to deal with. And so I just go for the high horsepower into Kling Kling, and then I just go for the Aurora Bell. With the Aurora Bell, I should be taking attacks from Kling Kling pretty well from all my team. So Kling Kling ends up revealing at its Choice Scarf and kills my Ninetales. Definitely a little bit annoying, but that's good to know. In addition to that, I am able to get a high horsepower off into the Kling Kling. And with this, I'm getting it pretty close to, pretty low HP. And Shuckle just ends up going for another Meteor Beam, but this time because it doesn't have the Power Herb, it's going to take 2 turns. And so here, I definitely think that I'm not in the worst shape, because with a little bit of Hell Chip, I think I should be able to kill the Kling Kling with an Ice Shard. And so here, I think it's a pretty obvious play, because Shuckle's going to hit one of these two mons with a +2 Meteor Beam, and I Protect on both. So I can click Protect on both to avoid the Meteor Beam on the Shuckle, and then the Kling Kling takes one more turn of Hell Chip, which I think then puts it in range for an Ice Shard for the Mammoth Swine, which is very good for me. So we get our double Protect off, which, definitely makes me feel pretty safe about this. And the Gear Grind ends up going into the Glastrier, and the Meteor Beam is ending up going into the Paliswine. They both get protected, and with this, they both get a little bit more chip from the Hell, which definitely really relevant into both of these. So now, like I said, we're just going to go for some damage on the Shuckle with Icicle Spear, and then the Ice Shard we hope should kill the Kling Kling from this range. So we get the Ice Shard, and it ends up killing, which is really nice. Definitely was stressed a little bit right there. And then the Icicle Spear ends up, doing okay damage. Not the biggest, each individual hit, but we're just hoping to get some good number of hits. And we end up getting 3 hits, which is pretty good. And Shuckle looks like after Hell Chip, it should die from 3 more hits of it. And they just go for a Sludge Bomb, which ends up not doing much damage, which is pretty nice. So we see that, Shuckle's offensive threat is not that much of an offensive threat outside of hitting the Meteor Beam specifically. So here, Passimian is going to outspeed and is terrifying to both my mons. I'm concerned about this because I definitely think that there's a chance that Passimian Close Combat can kill Glastrier with a little bit of damage I have. And so I'm actually debating on, which of these I should protect, because I think I need to protect one of these two. And I decide Glastrier is the correct protect because I think they're more likely to close combat into that, especially because it does more damage, and it's a little bit more likely to get killed by the close combat from this HP. So we protect the Glastrier, and Passimian ends up going for the close combat into Glastrier, and it was a huge protect read there. With that, I'm able to get a pretty free high horsepower into Passimian. However, Passimian takes that high horsepower really well, which is not the best for me. So here, Shuckle ends up getting another Meteor Beam, starts charging another Meteor Beam. And because I just protected with Glacier, I'm not feeling that great. And so, however, I don't think there's much I can do except for hope that I can kill Pessimian here and go for the double up with the Icicle Spear and the high horsepower. Um, I think that close combat still could kill. However, if they close combat into Glacier, then the high horsepower likely kills the Pessimian. And in addition, if they don't go for that, I think I should survive an healing attack. So they end up going for Drain Punch, which ends up doing very good damage. Definitely makes me believe that the high close combat would have killed, but they get a little bit of HP. With a little HP healing, they look like they're going to survive these attacks. And we just count the Icicle Spears. We get 1, 2, but the 2 is a crit, which is huge. And we got 3. So this is definitely massive that I got the crit. Obviously, I think in addition to getting the crit, if I just got a 4th one instead, that also would have been huge. Glacier goes down from the Meteor Beam. However, Simeon looks like it is in Ice Shard range, which is massive for me. And so, and I expect Pessimian to be Assault Vest. So here I just go for the Ice Shard. And if I don't hit this, or if it doesn't kill, I'm definitely dead. But if it does kill, I think I'm in a very good shape. And I was just hoping for this roll, or to, it's not a roll, we'll see. And the Ice Shard goes in and it gets the kill. And so from this point, I'm feeling very confident with the ability to win, especially because now they just charge up another Meteor Beam, because this is pretty much the best damage they can do into my Piloswine. And so here, I just decide to play it safe and go for the Protect. There's a good chance I can kill Shuckle from this range. However, if I miss a high horsepower, I don't want to risk, just randomly losing to that. And so we protect, and the Meteor Beam goes into the Piloswine. Like I said, I think there's a good chance that Sludge Bomb is its only other offensive move. And so we just go for the most powerful move, which is high horsepower in this situation, and hope that it gets the kill. But even if it doesn't get the kill, I think that I'm in favorable position, because they're either going to have to Meteor Beam or just try to hit me with Sludge Bombs, and the high horsepower ends up getting the kill. And so with that, we got a really close game. I definitely needed to read the Protect right on the turn with the Pessimian, and I definitely had a couple damage rolls that I think could have mattered. But with that, let's get into game 2. So here we are for game 2. So Shuckle was a really annoying this last game, and so I think I want a better way to deal with it, and Arctivish is definitely my cleanest answer to that. In addition, I don't think that they're likely to lead Weezing again, because it didn't do that much. And so I'm thinking about just the Ninetales Arctivish lead. The downside of this is obviously Choice Scarf Clink can just one-shot Ninetales before it can move, and I don't have a clean switch into it. However, Arctivish seems like it can be very useful, especially into the Shuckle, which, like I said, caused me massive problems last game. And so I decided to just lead the, the Hell mode, and then the big question is, do I want Mr. Rime and Piloswine or Mr. Rime and Glacier as my last mon? Both of them I definitely can see some justification for. The Piloswine's, the Piloswine's a little better defensively into, the Weezing, better defensively into the Shuckle. However, Glacier is better defensively into the Dracovish. And so I decided to just go with Piloswine, because I think the, priority Ice Shard is probably going to be really relevant. And so with that, let's get into the game. So they're able to lead Bling and Shuckle this time. And I lead my Hell mode and Ninetales and Arctivish, and I'm able to get the Hell up in turn 1 this time. So we know that the Cling is just Choice Scarf, and then we know the Shuckle's power of Meteor Beam. So there's not really any, I consider switching out, but there's not really switch outs. If I had Protect, I 100% protect with Ninetales this turn. However, I don't have Protect, I don't have a clean switch in, so I just go for Aurora Veil in case they target Cling. And I can definitely see a justification to Vicious Rim both these, but I do go with Cling because it's the more, fast mon, and after turn 1, Shuckle doesn't threaten too much, because it's going to take 2 turns to charge up its Meteor Beams. So we get the Vicious Rim off into the Cling, and it does firmly over 50%, which is really nice. The Cling's Gear Grind kills the Ninetales, which, is probably what I expected. Like I said, that's one of the reasons I would have protected if I had Protect on my team. Or I'm on my Ninetales, and then the Shuckle just goes for a Meteor Beam again. With its power of activating, it goes into my Arctivish. My Arctivish generally is a pretty bulky mod, And so we can get a little bit better sense of how much Meteor Beam does do in general sense. And into this, it ends up doing a very big amount of damage, just 80, maybe even closer to 90% damage, which is absurd. However, we are able to get a little bit of health chips to both the bonds, and so here the obvious play is just to bring out Mr. Rhyme. This threatens Fake Out. In addition, I can set up Trick Room for my Palace Wine in the back. And so here, I definitely want to fake out one of the two mons, and I decide I want to fake out the Kling Kling and go for the Vicious Ren into the Shuckle. The idea behind this is I want to kill Shuckle as quickly as I can, and then Kling Kling I can kill later because it's scarfed in. So however, they do switch out the Kling Kling into a Dracovish, so that my decision to Vicious Ren into the Shuckle ended up, being definitely correct. A little bit, I could have punished them even more if I went for a Psychic, but that would have been way too greedy of a play. There's no way in which I would have done that. So, however, with this, I able to get a pretty clean turn when I get a kill, and none of my Pokemon take any damage. So they end up bringing out Simeon, and so here I definitely need to get Trick Room up. That's the only way I win this game, and so I click Trick Room with Mr. Rhyme. And I'm locked into Vicious Ren. I don't think there's a clean switch in, so I just go for the Vicious Ren into the Simeon, hoping to get some damage. With a little bit of damage, I should be able to kill it with Psychic if it's an Assault Vest. And if they switch in, I can kill that. So we end up doing, a little bit over 50%, which is pretty big. The Dracovish goes for a Rock Slide, which kills the Arctovish. But the problem here is I'm concerned about flinches because it hit the Mr. Rhyme. I also take an Iron Head, which also has a flinch chance. So this time I'm flinching so bad, and I got the Trick Room up, which was huge. That was super stressful. I was 100% expecting to get flinched there, and because I think with the two moves, I think it was close to about a 50% chance that they flinched me, so that was definitely just a 50-50 roll there. However, with Trick Room up, I feel like I'm in great position. And so here, there's definitely a couple things. The big question is, I could double up into one of these, or I can just, spread my damage. I decide to spread my damage, go for the Psychic with the Simeon, and I decide to go for the Icicle Crash into the Dracovish. I don't think either of them are going to kill, but Icicle Crash has a flinch chance, so I go for that instead. So they end up switching out the Dracovish, which is actually huge, because if they switched out the Simeon instead, I think that would have been a lot more concerning for me. But with the switch out into the Kling Klang, I'm able to just get the Icicle Crash into there, which ends up missing out on the KO. However, it looks like it's in enough range to die from Hell Chip. And because I went for the Psychic into the Simeon, I'm able to get a clean kill there. If they switched up their, they switched it up and they went for a Vicious Ren or a Rock Slide, I definitely think they might have been able to get into a very good position there. But now, with Kling Klang dying here, and them only having one Mon left, I definitely feel like I'm in a great position. But yeah, so with this, it's 2v1, and I have Trick Room up. I have a couple more turns of Trick Room, and so I just go for the Psychic and the High Horsepower. I think that double up has a very good chance to kill. So they're just going up for the Protection of the Dracovish to stall out my Trick Room turns, which makes sense. I think if they can survive the double up, or if I miss the High Horsepower, they are able to get out of Trick Room, and then with the Rock Slide, there's a way. So definitely hoping that I can get the kill with the double up this following turn, because there's only 2 turns less of Trick Room, and so this is the last turn I have in which I can attack first with both my Pokemon. And so here we get the High Horsepower, luckily connecting, and from that range it looks like Psychic is going to kill, and it does. And so with that, we get a huge 2-0 win, which is definitely very good for me. With that, I'm up to 2-2 on the season after my 0-2 start, which is definitely really nice. This one was huge because the difference between a 2-2 going into the halfway mark of the season and a 1-3 is huge. And I definitely think that a 2-2 puts me in a lot better position to possibly make playoffs and even, get a run for even first seed in the division. But with that, I hope everyone enjoyed. Thank you for watching. See you next time.